raising grandkids and kids and working and making a living and living our lives. We're not obsessed with them.
That's Candace Dye, who heads up the Women's Medical Center in Fort Pierce, Florida, across the street from the Pregnancy Care Center where you saw Ann Lachirzo. Heidi Ewing, how does this women's health clinic that provides abortion function?
It's very, very difficult for them to function. It's a privately owned abortion clinic. It's not a Planned Parenthood, or clearly. It's a family-run business, actually. You know, they endure sort of round-the-clock protesters.
You see them always looking out the window at the protesters.
They're always looking out the window. They're always wondering what's coming around the corner. They're always checking the video cameras and the monitors. There's definitely a sense of fear. There is an element of danger to run an abortion clinic for the doctor, for the owners, for everyone involved. They're aware of that, and there's absolutely been a chilling effect over the years, with Tiller being murdered recently, of course. So you do have a palpable sense of tension, I would say.
Was he murdered during the time you were making this, or before?
He was murdered during the production of this film, actually. And it's referred to in the film. And, of course, that really put a pall over the entire corner. And, you know, he was murdered in church, and people were very shocked by the audacity with which he was murdered. And you know, one of the things that Candace talked about, who owns the abortion clinic, is that they're worried about not being able to find any doctors to do the procedure anymore. They're not as worried about it becoming illegal or the legislation, which is troubling to them, of course, but they're more worried about the sort of chilling effect, or who's going to want to perform abortions in the future. Most of the doctors that work there are in their 50s and 60s. Where's the next crop coming from? And she worries quite a bit about that.
We're talking to Heidi Ewing and Rachel Grady, co-directors of this remarkable film called 12th and Delaware, a corner in Fort Pierce, Florida, where there's a pregnancy care center on one side and there is the Women's World Health Clinic on the other that provides abortion. Rachel, this issue of fear. You have a remarkable scene where you're in the car with one of the anti-abortion protesters, a man who's going to track down where the doctors are picked up.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's probably kind of the peak of tension and fear in the film, at least. He follows the doctor. The owners go and pick up and drop the doctor off in a faraway location, not near the clinic.
At Walmart.
At Walmart, very appropriate in America. You know, to provide protection and, you know, to give him some security. And he covers himself. The doctor actually wears a sheet over his head every time he pulls into the clinic and pulls out. And it's this...
and comes into the garage.
Comes into the
garage door.
Exactly. And, you know, the... protesters have figured out who many of the doctors are over the years, have gone to their homes, have gone to their churches, have gone to their other jobs and high school reunions and, you know, protested and showed pictures of them and called them baby killers, etc. So Candace and her husband Arnold, who run the clinic, try and protect them because they don't want to have to keep looking for doctors.
I want to go to another scene. It's Ann Lachirzo, who runs the Pregnancy Care Center. She had just been advising a young couple, a woman who wanted to have an abortion, and she hoped she had reached her, but then she made a call to her afterwards. This is Ann Lachirzo.
Did you make any progress towards making a decision, or how are you? Yeah. And? Yeah. Did you go through with it already? Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. She aborted.
That was Ann Lachirzo, the head of the Pregnancy Care Center. Heidi Ewing, how did you get this access inside both clinics? Well, you can't call this one a clinic because they don't provide medical services, but...
Well, getting access inside a crisis pregnancy center turned out to be difficult. It took many, many months, many phone calls. I guess maybe it's not surprising to you that most pregnancy care centers and CPCs were unwilling and uninterested in being exposed publicly. So in terms of Anne and why she let us make the film, I think that it was a decision that she rolled the dice. They decided to roll the dice, and in their mind, abortion is so evil that even if we told 30% of the truth, that an audience would walk away feeling that abortion is the wrong thing. She believes that to be true. She believes it's murder. So she believed that a story inside a crisis pregnancy center would reveal that truth, what she considers the truth. And I believe that's why they let us in.
And what about the actual women's health clinic?
Well, there was a lot of trepidation on the part of the abortion clinic to allow us inside. Not because they had anything to hide necessarily, but because they've lived for 20 years with a lot of tension and problems with their neighbors, and so of course the instinct was to sort of lay low. I believe that Candace decided to let us in because she feels that she's been so maligned and in some ways tortured by the protesters and by her neighbors for so many years that in some way maybe this would vindicate her in some way.
The reaction of the two centers to this film, of Anne Lectures, who runs the Pregnancy Care Center, of Candace Dye, who runs the Women's World Health Clinic.
Well, I think that Candace feels a bit vindicated in a way, and also Candace runs the abortion clinic. And well, first of all, I think they were both somewhat curious about what happened in the other place. Even though they've been across the street from each other for almost 20 years, neither one had been inside the other place. And so I think it was interesting for them to see what happened.
Have they ever met?
They have met. They have met. They had a meal once. And I would have liked to be fly on the wall for that. But they just had that one interaction. And then there's been a lot of lawsuits. So they've seen each other in court, et cetera. Now, they see each other every day, but they're not friends at all. And I think Anne has mixed feelings about it. She hasn't had any problems with the actual content of the film, or as far as accuracy, or said anything was untrue or slanted. But she has such a passion against the abortion clinic and abortion. I think it's hard for her to watch anything that has to do with them, really.
What was the response to this film?
Well, so far we've shown it at festivals in the United States so far, and it's a very interesting experience to watch it with audiences. But I think abortion is definitely the third rail of American politics. It is the most divisive issue, I think, that we have out here right now, despite all the other problems we have. And audiences get queasy, they are uncomfortable, they get angry. It's been a fraught experience showing the film so far.
Heidi Ewing and Rachel Grady, filmmakers of 12th and Delaware. Their previous film was Jesus Camp. 12th and Delaware is making its television debut on HBO tonight at 9 Eastern. An interesting postscript. Very few news outlets have been willing to interview them about this film, 12th and Delaware. Contrast that with Jesus Camp, that got blanket coverage. Well, you decide for yourself. Watch HBO tonight at 9 Eastern. That does it for today's broadcast. Democracy Now! Is produced by Mike Burke, Shufra Kadus, Aramata, Angelique Kama, Steve Martinez, Nicole Salazar, Hani Masood, Robbie Karen, Mike DeFilippo, Miguel Naguer are our engineers. Special thanks to Elizabeth Press, Julie Crosby, Nick Gilla, John Gerberg, Samantha Chambly, Jessel Noor, Vesta Godars, and our camera crew, John Randolph, Kieran Krug Meadows, Rockham Penny. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us.